This incredibly popular certificate takes roughly 260 hours of hard work to complete. I did it, and today I'm going to clarify if it was worth it and if it's still worth getting in 2023 if you're a beginner looking to get a job as a data analyst. The entire certificate took me about 2 months to complete, so quite a bit faster than Google recommends. It's for complete beginners and consists of 7 courses and a very interesting final project at the end, which I'll cover as well. So first, let's start with the 7 main skills that you'll gain and why they're important to become a data analyst. Number 1, spreadsheets. You'll be using Google Sheets for a lot of different tasks and learn how to really operate like a data analyst. For example, by learning super useful spreadsheet functions. It's truly a fundamental thing you need to know to become a data analyst, and this course will not teach you Microsoft Excel, but they're very similar and you'll easily be able to transfer your knowledge over there too and excel at it. I'm sorry, I just had to. Number 2, questioning. So you learn how to ask the right questions. And as a data analyst, the questions you ask are incredibly important, as with the wrong questions, you won't even be looking for or analyzing the right thing to start with. And that means that your hard work will be completely useless and not what your stakeholder, boss, or client is looking for. The next one is cleaning and preparing data. You learn how to clean data, which means removing errors and making sure it's good enough to use for your analysis. You'll also learn how to prepare this data and organize it in a way where you can actually analyze and understand it. I guess it's like cleaning your room and making your bed, except that an unclean data set doesn't smell, but the consequences of using this data to make important decisions will. You'll also learn how to actually analyze the data, which means understanding it and using it to draw conclusions and answer your questions. The entire point of being a data analyst is using data to allow us to make quality data-driven decisions, so this part is pretty important too. To help you get all of this done, you'll learn SQL, a programming language used to manage databases, basically larger amounts of data that you want to use in your work. This is a very in-demand skill and will be very useful on your resume when looking for your first job as a data analyst. You'll also learn how to visualize your data and your findings. We call this data visualization or data viz, and it can be everything from a simple scatter plot to some kind of diagram, chart, or even a map. There's endless opportunities to visualize your data, and a big part of your job as a data analyst is to pick the most relevant one and useful one for your scenario. You'll also learn how to create these, which can be done in many different ways. After completing the certificate, you'll know how to do it in at least 3 unique ways. The first one is using built-in options in Google Sheets, and the second one is using a tool called Tableau, which is widely used, and personally I really like it. The last tool is R, which is another programming language, and you won't go into depth with R, but you'll learn the basics of how to create a graph, plot some data, and document the process in R, the programming language. Hold up, there's one last key thing, which is that issues always occur as a data analyst. You know, the data might not be available, you might have the wrong instructions or just made a mistake. Problem solving is a key part, and you'll learn how to always think like a data analyst, think critically, and solve problems that may occur in your future role. Now, I'll just summarize the courses and the final project for you really quick before we get into the good stuff. The first course is called Foundations, Data Everywhere. Can you guess what it's about? It's about foundations. Yep, exciting. This is the first course you'll take in the professional certificate. It's going to show you in more detail what a data analyst really does, and it's going to introduce you to the key data analyst skills and tools, which I actually did a minute ago, but you know, adding just a few more details. You'll learn about the data analysis process, learn all the new vocabulary, including data processing and the other ones we talked about, remember? Also, they'll sneak in some info about job opportunities and how to find a job as a data analyst. And this is in the first course, so trust me, Google not only wants you to complete this certificate, but actually get a job as a data analyst after. It's pretty cool actually. Moving over to course 2, which is all about asking effective questions and the process to making data-driven decisions. It's also a bit like an intro course part 2, just that they also go into more depth about asking questions and your job to help people make smart decisions as a data analyst. Then we hop over to the more practical things, where you'll get to prepare data for exploration, basically meaning making sure you have the right data in the right place for your analysis. Course 4 will then help you process this data and make sure it's of high quality and good enough to be used in your work. They call it process data from dirty to clean. Like most people, I'm not a huge fan of cleaning, but this course is super valuable. You'll work in Google Sheets and also get introduced to the programming language SQL or SQL. Course 5 is all about analyzing. As you might notice, the actual analysis part of the course or the certificate is pretty short. That's because as a data analyst, you do so many other things, not just analyze some data, and it's all about getting the other things right, as they directly impact the quality of your future analysis. So what happens after course 5 and after you start analyzing? Well, we need to do something with our findings. That's what course 6 is here to teach you. It's all about sharing your data and your findings. You will learn how to create effective visualizations like charts and pick the right one for the right situation. Plus, you learn storytelling and also get to work on your presentation skills. Being a data analyst doesn't mean that you have to be some professional speaker that loves talking like Tony Robbins, but it's more about helping people make smart decisions using your data and your findings, so communication is important. The final course before the best part, the project, is Data Analysis with R Programming. You learn how to make the process better using the programming language R, or to be honest, as a beginner, it's actually making it harder, but you'll find it useful later, trust me. It's only going to teach you the absolute basics, so if you don't like programming, do not worry. We've actually come to the best part, the final capstone project. Here you'll complete a project by yourself. It's going to be pretty straightforward once you get there, and you'll be able to apply what you've learned in the other courses to a project that you can show to future employers. Pros and cons. I'll start with the pros, but stick around because there's actually a few downsides to the certificate that might be important to you, and you don't want to spend 260 hours and realize it after. This certificate is by Google and Coursera, two well-known brands. Google is great when it comes to online courses. They have lots of certificates in different areas and people recognize their certificates when they see one. That is definitely going to be an advantage and something to keep in mind, especially when comparing this one to other certificates in the field, that the brand and institution actually matters a lot when you put it on your resume, not only the course or the content. The time it takes to complete this certificate is average. It's around 260 hours, which is a lot, but there's actually quite a bit of content that's optional and not really necessary, in my opinion. There's a lot of slow videos and you can easily watch them at 1.5 or even 2x speed, and there's just no need for it to take 260 hours. But I like the slow pace because it's very beginner friendly if you want, and you can definitely take the course very slowly if you want to. We also have the price to keep in mind, which is a subscription that you only pay for as long as you need to complete the certificate, which means that if you complete it faster, you technically pay less. And I think it's a really good thing. Plus they have financial aid, which you can apply to, and in this case, you'll have to apply for every course separately, and if you're eligible, you will be enrolled in the full course for free. Personally, I think that those who can pay should pay, because it's proven to motivate you more when you've invested something into the thing you're about to do. And also, we want to make sure that the people that really need this financial aid are able to get the financial aid, and that we don't take it from them. The 8 beginner-friendly courses will teach you skills not only for data analyst jobs, but will improve your soft skills, such as analytical and critical thinking. It will also make you proficient in tools like Sheets, SQL, etc., which can help you get other jobs in other related fields too, if you find that data analysis isn't for you as you're completing the course. Just a few examples. So SQL could be helpful in getting a job in data engineering. Sheets or Excel is practically required in all roles nowadays. Of course not as advanced as for data analysts, but it's still really useful. And the soft skills will help you in all areas of your life and will also help you land lots of other analytical jobs which usually tend to pay pretty well. The downsides are that it's a self-study course, so some people might struggle to find motivation and actually complete all the courses in the certificate. If that's you, you can still do it. You just might have to push a little bit extra to find that motivation and discipline required, because it's going to be very useful if you actually complete the certificate, and it's not going to be very useful if you only complete 1 or 2 courses if your goal is to complete all of it. The other downside is that a lot of people have taken this certificate, and that's why likely it won't be enough to get you all the way to a job as a data analyst if you're just getting started. It's a good start, but that's why I created this video right here for you that reveals all the other pieces that you need to land a job as a data analyst and how to do it fast.